Okay, so this is Digital SAT Practice Test 3, Module 2, Grammar section. So we see that A, B, C, D are all verbs and they are different verb tenses. So for verb tense questions, please look at surrounding verbs or context. So we start from the beginning. Atoms in a synchrotron, a type of circular particle accelerator, travel faster and faster. So that is in present simple tense. So the answer is B, right? When we're talking about facts or habits, routines, or the content description of a story, of a work, we would use present simple. Okay. And for number 19, so this is very similar to what we did before, right? Verbs and verbals. So A explains, that is singular verb. Explaining, that is verbal, not a verb. Probably participle, could be gerund. Having explained is also verbal. It's the same as after explaining. And to explain is verbal because it is infinitive. And in this case, we see a recent study. That is our subject. So it needs to be followed by a verb. And that's why the answer is A. Okay, number 20. Verbs again, but different verb tenses and singular versus plural, right? A, B, D are plural, C is singular. So remember, for verbs, the first thing you do is find your subject, because chances are it's going to test you on subject-verb agreement. And as you can see here, this whole big chunk of information is one sentence. So what do we do? Well, let's try and cross out our phrases first. Okay, so former First Lady, cross out of the United States. Oh, actually, I can cross out Eleanor Roosevelt because that is in the positive. And then I have and Indian activist and educator, cross out Hansa Mehta, that is our a positive as well. So I have compound subject, right? Were instrumental, meaning very important. Cross out prepositional phrase in drafting the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So cross out that whole big chunk of prepositional phrase. And then you see a document, which is a positive, followed by what? Well, followed by a relative pronoun that. So we know that that is referring to a document. So it is singular. So the verb inside our adjective clause has to be singular. A, B, D are out. C. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And number 21. So again, this is punctuation, right? So we have to know whether we have a complete sentence, and I'm going to start from after period. For instance, the colorful calico rockfish, which is our subject, can survive, cross out prepositional phrase, for a little over a decade. And then you see while is the subordinator. The rough-eye rockfish subject boasts a maximum life. Okay, so in this case, we have independent clause plus dependent clause. But this is a very special case. Usually we say that, oh, for adverbial clause, it's ID and then D comma I. But when you are making contrast using whereas or while, we always use a comma, even if it's independent, comma, dependent, right? So our only answer would be D. And even if you didn't know this rule, by process of elimination, you should cross out B and C because period equals semicolon. And we cannot use colon for contrast because colon is used to talk about explanation, examples, or clarification. Okay. And last question for this session. The lion light system developed by Kenyan inventor. Okay, so I'm going to cross out this participle phrase, non-essential. So my subject is system. My verb is consists. Cross out of LED lights. Cross out installed around the perimeter because that's a participle phrase. Remember, install in this case, this is not a verb. It's an adjective function. Cross out of livestock pastures. Well, actually, I should have started from after period. So, powered with energy collected by solar panels during the day. And then I have another sentence. The blinking LEDs keep lions away. Okay, so we're looking at a participle phrase at the beginning of the sentence. Remember one important rule, okay? By is a preposition. We almost never use preposition before or after. We almost never use punctuation before or after preposition. So A is definitely wrong because you can see comma before by and before during. So we can cross A out. Now, if we take a look at D, comma, collected by solar panels. We know collected by solar panels during the day, that has to be our essential participle phrase. So we can cross out D as well. Now we're left with B and C. If you remember one rule, we have one punctuation or one comma called the introducer comma. Introducer comma is the comma that comes between a word, a phrase, or a dependent clause before our subject verb. And that is what's happening here, right? Because powered with energy collected by solar panels during the day, that is a big phrase, a big participle phrase. So we need an introducer comma followed by subject verb. And that is why our answer here would be C. Okay, so that's that.